of the meeting of the Committee on Constitutional Commissions and Offices of the Commission on Appointments in the third regular session of the 18th Congress is hereby called to order. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Under consideration of this committee is the deliberation on the following 5 ad interim appointments that were submitted to the committee's jurisdiction. Number 1, Ms. Rizalina Noval Hustol as Chairperson, Commission on Audit, for a term expiring on February 2, 2029, Vice Michael G. Aguinaldo. Number 2, Mr. Carlos Alexi Bendigo Nograles as Chairperson, Civil Service Commission, for a term expiring on February 2, 2029, Vice Alicia De La Rosa Bala. Number 3, Mr. George Irwin M. Garcia as Commissioner, Commission on Elections, for a term expiring on February 2, 2029, Vice Antonio Tico Jr. Number 4, Ms. Amy S. Torrefranca Neri as Commissioner, Commission on Elections, for a term expiring on February 2, 2029, Vice Rowena Amelia Viguanson. And number 5, Mr. Saidamen Balt Pangarungan as Chairperson, Commission on Election, for a term expiring on February 2, 2029, Vice Sheriff M. Abbas. May we invite Chairperson Hustol to take the seat in front? Okay. The Majority Leader is recognized to report on the parliamentary status. Majority Floor Leader.
Unmute.
Di madinig.
Dali po. Madam Chair, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Good morning, Madam Chair. Good morning, colleagues. The Committee on Constitutional Commissions and Offices held a hearing on May 25, 2022 to deliberate on the 5 ad interim appointments as mentioned by the chair. In that hearing, the committee chair made her opening statements and informed the appointees that the committee will deliberate each appointee in the order that the appointees have submitted the complete documentary requirements pursuant to Article 2, Section 3 of the Rules of the Standing Committees. The chair then directed Secretary Hector Villacorta to report on the status of the jurisdictional requirements of Ms. Rizalina Noval Hustol as Chairperson, Commission on Audit, and further directed the Secretary to administer the oath to Chairperson Hustol. Thereafter, Chair Hustol delivered her introductory statement. Acting Majority Leader Representative Gavini Apol Pancho manifested that the committee received letters from Senator Miguel F. Zubiri, the Senate Majority Floor Leader, and Senator Panfilo M. Lacson, requesting for the postponement of the hearing scheduled on May 25, 2022. The acting Majority Leader further stated that the inability of the other members of the committee to attend the hearing was principally due to their performance of a constitutionally mandated duty as part of the National Board of Canvassers for the presidential and vice presidential elections. The acting Majority Leader added that upon discussion of the House contingent and upon the advice of Commission Vice Chairperson Representative Ronaldo B. Zamora, another day can be set to deliberate all pending appointments before the Committee on Constitutional Commissions and Offices. On that note, the acting Majority Leader moved that the committee meeting scheduled on May 25, 2022 be reset and to resume until further notice. There being no objection, the chair approved that motion and suspended the meeting of the Committee on Constitutional Commissions and Offices. That's the parliamentary status, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank, uh, Before we start with the hearing, we recognize the physical presence of Senators, Majority Floor Leader Subiri, Senator Coco Pimentel III, Senator Drilon, and Senator Lacson. Okay. Thank you, Majority Floor Leader. The appointee is now ready to respond to any comment or question from the members. The appointee is reminded that she is still under oath.
Madam Chair,
Will ask the question.
mine is not a question, Madam Chair. Mine is a query, or basically to get the thoughts of our colleagues. On February of 2016, and I believe Senate President at the time was Senator Franklin M. Drilon, Senator Enrile had invoked Section 20 on the members of the constitutional commissions were applying for constitutional offices at that time. And his rationale, Madam Chair, was, and I quote, this was his explanation. When he invoked Section 20 on the constitutional offices, I believe it was ambassadors together with members of COA and other commission constitutional offices and uh, members of the DFA. I quote, he says, I will tell you, ambassadors deployed abroad are representatives of the president. It will be unfair to the next president if these people are appointed by the outgoing president. 3 years tenure, you deprive him, the president, of selecting the people that he would want to represent him, he said, of the 5 diplomats. And he goes on saying, with the other appointees on the constitutional bodies, why not leave that to the incoming president? He is outgoing. Why is he appointing his representatives that last their positions for 3 years, depriving the next president of the right of choosing his own representatives? I quote, and so, Madam Chair, with due respect to these gentlemen and ladies here, many of them are my close friends. Carlo is a good friend of mine. Attorney George is also my lawyer before he was appointed to the COMELEC. Chairman Pangalungan is a dear, dear friend of mine from Lano del Sur. But the question is asked, wouldn't it be better? Because some of them have, if I'm not mistaken, the chairperson of the commission appointments will be there for 7 years, if I'm not mistaken. 7 years. That will, I mean, COA, Commission, sorry, on the Commission on Audit. And therefore, a position of 7 years, ibig sabihin, this new president with a mandate of 31 million votes will not even be able to appoint the head of the COA until even up to the last day of his term, because she would have a longer period of time than the president, Madam Chair. I'm just raising this fundamental question without raising Section 20 at this point in time with our colleagues, because I know Section 20 has to be done in plenary. Under our rules, and let me quote our rules, Madam Chair, suspension, consideration of nominations or appointments. Any member may move to suspend by action of the commission on any nomination appointment favorably recommended by a standing committee, and chairman shall suspend the consideration of said nomination and appointment, provided that suspension may be taken up in the next succeeding session of the commission, provided that this section shall not apply to nominations appointments taken up by the commission during the last session prior to synergy adjournment of Congress. Synergy adjournment of Congress, Madam Chair, is this week, end of the week. So technically, I also have the right to invoke Section 20 later in plenary if need be. But I just want to lay the predicate when we discuss all the members of these constitutional bodies. Para alam po naman nila, to be fair with them, that is the plan. Because many of my colleagues feel that maybe it is, or it should be, the choice of the new president, Madam Chair, particularly in the appointments of these constitutional offices. I leave it at that, Madam Chair, for the record.
Dear Senator, uh, we duly note your comments. Thank you.
Ma'am,
Senator
Yes.
Pimentel.
With the appointee before us, nasasayangan lang naman ako kasi walang opposition. There's no oppositor against her. Tapos, sa kanyang biodata, mga career highlights niya, most outstanding accountant, Hall of Famer in the most outstanding accounting office. So maybe we can proceed on a case-to-case basis because, you know, if the outgoing president, by accident lang naman kasi umabot si ma'am ngayon. When were you appointed, ma'am? Ad
Your Honor,
interim, we were not
last February
intentional.
17,
Again?
2022.
Ano
February
di-
17 po, 2022.
Naka-break na tayo nun eh. Naka-break na tayo yun. So, but, you know, if a deserving appointment was made by the outgoing president, and then months earlier, by accident na, naka-break na tayo because it was a campaign period. Maybe we can proceed on a case-to-case basis naman. If there is an appointee like this one before us, which we can say also caps her career in government with a plum or a post which is, you know, very respectable and a constitutional office. Maybe a relaxation of that proposal can be requested, Madam Chair.
Madam
Okay.
Chair, I have nothing against ma'am. Kasi Bisaya ba may silingan man taga Davao. Wala ko'y problema sa iya. I have no problem with ma'am. But it's the whole principle. If you make it case to case, how will you choose now the others? Is it because they have bad character? Is it because there's an opposition hindi natin ipapasa? It's a matter of principle because of the choice of the president. Because if you make it a case-to-case basis, then we are favoring one over the other, which I think is not correct at this point in time. That would be unfair to the appointees. My suggestion is, since we have a last day, which could be on Wednesday, we can take it up on a Wednesday. The hearings today, we can take it up on a Wednesday. And under our rules, we'll have to vote on it in caucus. So if that would be a better, kasi di-discuss natin na yun, tapos i-recommend mo sa plenary mamaya, I definitely, some of us, not only me, I know some colleagues in the Congress will raise the issue of Section 20. Di sayang din. So why don't we do it for the last day? That is my humble suggestion, Madam Chair.
Majority Leader, what is your comment?
Point of information. Point of
It's a
inquiry.
point of inquiry of our colleague, Madam Chair. Senator Bongo, kasi. Senator Kiko Pangilinan, Madam Chair.
Yes, point of inquiry. Thank you, Mr. Majority Leader. Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Just a inquiry to Senator Zubiri. The citing of Senator Enrile's manifestation, just to give us context, when was this done? Under whose administration and which presidential appointees?
I believe he was the minority floor leader under Pinoy presidency, President Noynoy Aquino. And it was done exactly on February, well, the story is on February 3.
What year was this? Sorry.
February 3, 2016.
Okay. Thank you for that.
He gave the incoming Duterte administration also the free hand to choose the choices of these constitutional commissions.
Thank
So he
you.
did
Thank
the
you.
Duterte administration a favor, Mr. President. Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Majority Floor Leader.
may I ask Senator Zubiri if his manifestation is just a statement of manifestation per se or a motion? And if it's on the latter, I'd like to ask him to put it in a motion, Madam Chair.
Well,
Majority Floor
I think,
Leader, I think procedurally, Section 20 is proper at the plenary session, not in a committee hearing.
Yes, but he also suggested that we take up the discussion for the 5 appointees on the last day, not today. So I'd like to find out from Senator Zubiri, Madam Chair, if that is his suggestion would be better presented in a motion so that we can act on it.
yes, I so move, Madam Chair, if that is the request of the Majority Floor Leader.
Majority Floor Leader.
Madam Chair, there is a motion from Senator Subiri that the discussion and deliberation on the ad interim appointments of the 5 nominees scheduled for today be deferred until the last day of our committee hearings, Madam Chair. Is that correct, Senator Zubiri?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Is there any objection? There being none, the hearing is set for Wednesday. Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Majority Floor Leader.
there being no other matters to discuss in this committee, I move to adjourn this meeting.
Any objection? If there is no objection, the meeting is adjourned. Suspended, okay, until Wednesday morning, okay.
Commission appointments in the third regular session of the 18th Congress hereby called to order. Secretary, kindly call the roll.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. The Committee on National Defense, Commission on Appointments. The Honorable Chairperson, Representative Luis John A. Ferrer IV is present. The other officers and members of this committee are Alvarez Jr., Arbison, De La Rosa,
Present.
Go, Lacson, Pimentel III, Cagas, Chipeco Jr.,
Present.
Noel, Pangilinan, Po, Ramirez Sato,
Present.
Recto, Revilla Jr.,
Present.
Villar, Subiri, Zamora, Almario,
Present.
Villanueva, Pancho,
Present.
Drilon, Advincula, Heron.
Present.
Um, with 4 members present in person, including the chair, and 7 members present online, a total of 11 members present. The existence of a quorum is hereby declared. Before we proceed, I would just like to greet Kong Idol Mayo Almario. Belated happy birthday, boss. Okay. Okay. We can now proceed. Majority Leader.
Mr. Chairman, before I proceed, I would like to thank the chairman for his video greetings. Dami hong nagka-crush sa inyo nung pinakita ko yan. Mr. Chair, I move that we dispense with the reading of the minutes of the previous meeting held on February 2, 2022 and consider the same as approved. I so moved.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The reading of the minutes of the previous meeting held on February 2, 2002 is dispensed with and the same is considered approved. Magandang umaga po sa ating mga kasama sa Committee on National Defense of the Commission on Appointments, ating mga kaibigan, ladies and gentlemen. Today, your committee is tasked to deliberate on the ad interim appointments of 17 general and flag officers of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. Gentlemen, kindly stand up as your name is called. Adonis Ariel G. Orio, to the rank of Brigadier General. Wilbur C. Mamawag, to the rank of Major General. Alberto B. Carlos, to the rank of Vice Admiral. William N. Gonzalez, to the rank of Lieutenant General. Romel Anthony Reyes to the rank of Vice Admiral. Glenn June C. Kalambuhay to the rank of Brigadier General. Fermin M. Karangan to the rank of Brigadier General. Arauz Robert F. Musico to the rank of Major General. Ignatius N. Patrimonio to the rank of Major General. Charlton Sean M. Garland to the rank of Major General. Renato P. David to the rank of Rear Admiral. Jonas R. Lumawag to the rank of Major General. Francisco G. Tagamolila Jr. to the rank of Commodore. Marvin L. Licudin to the rank of Brigadier General. Camilo Z. Ligayo to the rank of Major General. Consolito P. Yecla to the rank of Brigadier General. And Romulo A. Manuel Jr. to the rank of Major General. Mr. Secretary, kindly report on the jurisdictional requirements and other pertinent information relative to the 17 ad interim appointments in compliance with the new rules of the Commission and the new rules of the Standing Committee.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, Your Honors. The 17 ad interim appointments under consideration today by the committee were received by the Commission on various dates and were forthwith referred by the Senate President and CA Chairperson Vicente C. Soto III to the Committee on National Defense pursuant to Section 16, Chapter 5 of the new rules of the Commission. The said ad interim appointments were published on various dates in 2 newspapers of general circulation and broadcast over PTV4 pursuant to Section 2, Article 2 of the new rules of the standing committees. All the appointees complied with the submission of the mandatory documentary requirements as provided in Section 24, Chapter 6 of the new rules of the Commission. There is no opposition filed against any of the appointees. That is all, Mr. Chairperson, Your Honors.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Please administer the oath to all our appointees.
Please all stand and raise your right hands. Do you all swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in this proceeding, so help you God? Mr. Chairman, they are now all under oath.
May I call on Lieutenant General William N. Gonzalez, the most senior among the officers now under consideration, to please take the seat in front, sir. We would like to acknowledge the presence online of our chair, Congressman Ronaldo B. Zamora. Sir, you may now give your opening statement if you have any.
Yes, sir. The Honorable Chairperson of the Committee on Defense, Representative Luis John Alandi, John A. Ferrer IV, honorable members of this committee, the Honorable Secretary Hector Villacorta, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. We are honored and privileged to be at today's deliberation for our confirmation, the 17 generals and flag officers of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. We fully accept and acknowledge the constitutional mandate of this distinguished body under Section 18, Article 7 of the 1987 Constitution to scrutinize the appointees in consonance with the mechanism of checks and balances. The chairperson, your honors, rest assured, if confirmed by the commission appointments, we will not fail our oath of duty to be a public servant and discharge the duties and functions to the best we can. Again, we humbly submit ourselves and our desire to be confirmed by this honorable body, and so we pray. God bless and maraming salamat po.
Maraming salamat po, General. The floor is now open for any inquiries from our members or manifestation. Okay, we'd also like to acknowledge the presence online of Congressman Munir Arbison. Good morning, Cong. Any member? Senator Lacson po.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have two questions. This may be answered by either Lieutenant General Gonzalez or the Deputy Chief of Staff, Lieutenant General Reyes, no? Yeah. We both know that a military commander, whether assigned in the battlefield or sa headquarters, is oftentimes confronted with two concerns, di ba? Accomplishment of the mission and the welfare of the men. Now, I'm asking my questions in the context of the newly passed or approved Republic Act 11709 and its impending effectivity come July 1 of this year. So I'd like to find out, I have no doubt that this will contribute in the accomplishment of the overall mission of the AFP. And I don't think you will disagree with that, di ba? But there's another concern, yung welfare of the men, particularly yung moral of some officers in the armed forces of the Philippines. So I'd like to ask, and this is a good subject of discussion, how is the morale of the officer rank, yung particularly yung mga full colonel? Because I heard, and I got this from a good source, from the Secretary of National Defense himself, upon the approval of the President of this new law. Sabi niya, sir, may mga low moral na classes dito. I would like to get some inputs from you kung ano yung extent ng moral problem involving certain classes, particularly 91, 92, 93, 94. Ito yung mga sinabi niya sa akin. So kindly give us some information, General.
Your Honor, may I request the TDCS Rear Admiral Reyes?
I suppose the TDCS
To answer
is in a better
the question.
position to answer the question.
Yes, sir.
General Reyes. Why is that? If true, kung tama yung observation ni Secretary Lorenzana, why is that?
Permission to remove my face mask, sir. Thank you, sir, to the honorable members of the Committee on Defense. Sir, I'm Vice Admiral Romel Reyes, the Deputy Chief of Staff. For the information of the committee, even before the enactment of the Republic Act, when it was approved, the Armed Forces of the Philippines with the Department of National Defense have been holding sessions and working groups for the crafting of the implementing rules and regulations. It was during these several sessions that we saw the changes and improvements that will be made upon the effectivity of this law. It is true, sir, that there will be some, should I say, sectors, not only of the officer corps, but to include the enlisted personnel corps that will be affected by this law. We know, sir, that this is a change, and but we know this will be for the improvement of the organization. So we, with the ongoing crafting of the implementing rules and regulations, it is the intention of the armed forces with the Department of National Defense to clarify the some of the ambiguous, should I say, and to clarify those sections that needs, especially, sir, that terms the tenure in grade. So we plan to clarify that. Nevertheless, sir, we really welcome this change, and the end of view, although the morale of some, not all, will be affected, this will make the personnel of the armed forces more competitive in the respective field, so that we will have a more effective and robust organization.
Yes, can you enumerate some of those ambiguities you mentioned?
Uh, on the some of them, sir, are the those the whether the incumbent generals and flag officers will be covered by still by PD 1638 or by the new law. But nevertheless, sir, for the information of the body, tomorrow we will have another session, sir, on this matter, sir, for the crafting of the implementing rules and regulations.
Well, if the new law does not amend provisions of PD 1638, they become effective still, di ba?
Yes, sir.
Kasi hindi namin. But be very careful when you craft the IRR. Make sure and always remember yung adage, the spring cannot rise above its source. Because in effect, pag ginawa nyo yung IRR, baka you're creating a new law.
Yes, sir.
But be sure it should be confined within the provisions of 11709 when you craft the IRR.
Yes, sir.
Ito yung isang provision sa 1638, please correct me if I'm wrong. Meron sinasabi, said officer shall not be eligible, referring to the chief of staff, of course, never mind the chief of staff, vice chief of staff, all the three-star generals, shall not be eligible to any other position in the AFP unless promoted to the position of chief of staff. I think this is one provision in PD 1638 na hindi ginalaw sa 11709. My question is, when you say no one is eligible once you get the position of vice chief of staff, deputy chief of staff, the major service commanders, unified commanders, and the inspector general, hindi ka na pwedeng ma-assign or mag-move even laterally to any other position. That is the provision in 1638, which has not been amended under 11709. My question is, what if, theoretical, what if na-incapacitate yung TDCS? I'm not referring to you, to the position. Or namatay. Do you mean to tell me that any one of the key officers mentioned under this provision cannot move laterally and be appointed as the deputy chief of staff? And you will have to uproot from other, from the major general ranks?
Those are the matters that we will be clarifying, sir, because
Yes.
part of the process, sir.
So you have taken this under consideration already, this particular provision? Hindi. Not
Uh,
yet.
we are clarifying those provisions, sir.
What classes particularly? Anong batches ang sabihin nating low moral with the passage of this new law? And why?
For me, sir, specifically no particular class or person has approached me on this, that they are low moral, but they are just their concern. I'm just informing in my capacity as the TDCSer that to trust the system and the process. That if this instead of looking on the individual, should I say, desire to look on uh, the larger picture that this will eventually benefit the organization, sir. Definitely, sir, we see that there will be those that will be affected depending on especially on their ages.
Yes, particularly those that will be attrited
Yes, sir.
by virtue of their length of service
Yes, sir.
or tenure in grade, di ba?
Yes, sir.
So how many are those? Yung mga old kernels.
We have,
Is that
I do not
is the
have the
number
particular
substantial?
numbers, or I do not have the particular number right now, sir.
And these officers belong to 92, 93, 94, even 91, di ba?
Yes, sir.
So mauna silang ma-attrite kesa doon sa mga holding TO positions now like brigade commanders in the Philippine Army.
Yes, sir.
Kasi may extend sila ng 3 years effectively. And they cannot move up because there are no positions or vacant positions available.
Yes, sir.
But remember, there's also the attrition law, hindi ba? That still applies. In the case of those holding the positions with the rank of calling for the position for the rank of brigadier general, di ba? May 3 years yan eh. So magka-cancel out din yan.
Yes, sir. That's why we are already doing the possible adjustments, sir. Not just the number of positions, but also looking at the restructuring of the organization, sir.
What do you mean restructuring? I-increase nyo yung TO position?
No, sir. No, sir. The force restructuring, sir, on the future armed forces.
Yeah, what do you mean? Can you elaborate?
To streamline, sir. To streamline the organization, sir. There's a possibility, sir, that we might even lessen the unified command and see on lessen the top echelon para maging mas pyramid siya, sir.
Yes. If you reduce the number of unified commands, mababawasan pa yung TO position.
There's that possibility, sir.
So lalo magkakaproblema yung nasa ibaba.
Pwede rin naman, sir, lumaki rin, sir, sa baba, sir. Anyway, sir, this is an ongoing process, sir, but we are we are all basing this, sir, on the current documents that we have, the national military strategy, our campaign plans, the defense plans, sir, so that the organization will be responsive, sir.
You know, I'm personally interested in this because, as you may be aware, I'm an author and the principal sponsor, no?
Yes, sir.
At least in the Senate. So I'd like to find out kung ano yung effect sa military, particularly, sabi mo nga, not only the officer corps, but the enlisted personnel as well.
Yes, sir.
So doon ang gagaling yung personal interest ko because I'm curious kung ano yung, of course, overall effect. This will professionalize the armed forces of the
Yes, sir.
Philippines. There's no doubt. But there are some, sabi mo, some sectors, particularly certain classes that graduated from the Philippine Military Academy, as well as those na nasa batch nila, no, US, sa West Point, USAPA, or Naval Academy, na affected din. So gusto ko lang makita yung overall picture, at least magkaroon ako ng idea. Well, if ma-attrite mauna yung mga senior colonels, yung nearing the 9-year attrition age, di ba? Or time in grade. Kung magna 9 years na silang full colonel at wala silang pupuntahang brigade commander position, so ma-attrite talaga sila. But there's also that attrition, the 3-year attrition period for one-star generals, di ba? Na 3 years.
Yes, sir.
And there's also the attrition period of 3 years for major generals, yung mga division commanders. and other positions. So I want to have a more or less a clear picture on how it will affect and how many will be affected. And I guess you're not prepared to give us the data, no?
Yes, sir. But we will, once we know, sir, we will provide your officer with this information, sir.
Kindly. Ang importante lang, when you craft the IRR, always remember na huwag kayong maggawa ng panibagong batas. You should limit yourself within the confines of the law as passed. Ano? Kasi ito, pangkaraniwang complaint ito ng mga colleagues ko sa Senate. Ano? Pag nabasa namin ng IRR, nabago na yung batas. Labas na sa provision ng batas yung ginagawang IRR. Hindi ito yung armed forces o sa SND or DND, but other agencies of government. And this is a source of complaints ng mga senador. Just want to tell you that. So anyway, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much po, Senator Lacson. Thank you, Gerald. The chair would like to recognize Senator Christopher Bongo.
Mr. Chairman, distinguished colleagues, I am here with you today to extend my utmost support for the ad interim appointments of the 17 generals and flag officers of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. Thank you for this hearing, Mr. Chair, especially since some of the officers would possibly be affected by the one-year ban on age. Having said that, Mr. Chair, excuse me, I would like also to take this opportunity to appeal to our fellow CA members and to you, Mr. Chairman, Congressman John Ferrer, our Vice Chairman, Senator Ping Lacson, nandito po siya ngayon, and to you and to our Senate President Vicente Soto for your consideration and understanding for the remaining 115 military officers who are pending consideration of this committee. Ang kanila pong pagsasakripisyo at katapatan para sa bayan, lalo na po sa panahon ng pandemya, ay walang katulad. Hindi po sila tumitigil sa pagsiservisyo para sa kapwa nating Pilipino, kahit na buhay nila ang nakataya. Tapos na po ang eleksyon at sana bilang pagkilala man lang sa kanilang serbisyo, tulungan po natin sila at tulungan po natin na ibigay sa kanila ang kanilang pinagpaguran at pinaghirapang promosyon. Alam niyo po, Mr. Chair, kung madidelay po ang confirmation sa natitirang senior military officers, maaaring magkaroon po ng domino effect sa mga nasa ibabang ranggo na due na rin po for promotion. Baka mapektuhan ang nasa next in line na dapat ma-promote na rin dahil nakapending po ang kanilang ad interim promotion. Mr. Chair, dadaan sila muli sa napakatagal na proseso para makapag-secure ng mga dokumento para sa kanilang appointment papers. Napakakapal po ng mga requirements. Kung hindi po sila papalarin na ma-confirm bago matapos ang kongresong ito, alam naman po natin na yung ibang documentary requirements ay mayroon pong period of validity. 8 months po silang madidelay because some of them were appointed December pa po of 2021. And with the new law, from 10 years to 8 years na ma-attrite na sila, apektado rin po sila sa effectivity of the new law. Sa totoo lang po, Mr. Chair, yung iba sa kanila, December pa nga po nag-aantay at pinauna. At dahil pinauna na muna yung mga hinahabol na ma-confirm po kagad, inabutan na sila ng recess noong February 4 at ng election. Sana ngayon, paunlakan natin sila para hindi na sila kailangang maghintay muli. Sana maisip din natin na baka yung iba sa mga sundalong ito, nakapag-celebrate na kasama ang kanilang pamilya, amista at mga kaibigan. Bilang miyembro po ng Commission on Appointments, ako na po ang nagpaparating sa inyo dahil alam kong wala ni isa sa mga colonels ang maglalakas loob na makiusap at magsalita. Sana po mabigyan natin ng kaunting panahon at konsiderasyon ang mga natitirang senior military officers pending consideration. Kaunting sakripisyo lang to para sa ating mga sundalo na nagsisilbi ring government frontliners natin sa panahon ng pandemya. Our confirmation will not only affirm their promotion due them, but will also boost the morale of our soldiers. Mr. Chair, we still have 2 remaining days to consider them. Let us give them peace of mind and grant them what they deserve. Pwede naman pong Nakiusap po kay Vice Chairman kanina at kay Chairman, pwede naman pong maglagay ng VTC sa separate room or hall para po mai-hear natin yung napakaraming pending 115 kernels. Salamat po. Mr. Chair, let me now proceed to express my profound gratitude and sincerest appreciation to our uniformed officers in consideration today for their invaluable service to the Filipino nation. Again, allow me, Mr. Chair, to make of record my full and utter support for the confirmation of the ad interim appointments of not according to seniority to, no? Brigadier General Fermin Karangan, na nagsilbing Deputy Wing Commander po ng 250, Presidential Airlift Wing, Philippine Air Force. Ngayon po ay kasalukuyang Senior Military Assistant to the President. Brigadier General Adonis Ariel Orio, Commander po ng 402nd Infantry Brigade. Major General Wilbur Mamawag, 4th Infantry Division, Philippine Army. Vice Admiral Alberto Carlos, Commander po ng Westcom. Lieutenant General William Gonzales, Inspector General po. Ito, nagsakripisyo rin po ito sa hulo. Vice Admiral Romel Anthony Reyes, Deputy Chief of Staff, AFP. Brigadier General Glenn June Kalambuhay, Assistant Deputy Chief of Staff for Operations, J3. Major General Ignatius Patrimonio, 11th Infantry Division. Commodore Francisco Taga Molila Jr., Commander po ng Naval Forces Northern Luzon, Philippine Navy. Brigadier General Marvin Licodine, Chief AFP Peace and Development Office. Major General Camilo Ligayo, J9. Brigadier General Consolito Yekla, Commander ng 1003rd. In addition, also, Mr. Chair, I also extend my support to the ad interim appointments of Rear Admiral Renato David, Major General Charlton Sian Garland, Major General Jonas Lumawag, Major General Romulo Manuel Jr., and Major General Arauz Robert Musico. Our country will forever be grateful and indebted to you for your unparalleled service to the Filipino people and for continuously ensuring our safety. Ako po ay taos-puso nagpapasalamat sa inyong lahat, sa inyong walang katulad na katapatan at pagsiservisyo po sa ating bayan, lalong-lalo na po ngayon sa panahon ng pandemya. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Chair.
Maraming salamat po, Senator Bongo, for your manifestation. Senator
Yes,
Pingaston.
thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to take advantage of the presence of Senator Bongo. Let me just express my gratitude on behalf of all the retired and active military personnel. Kindly convey to the President our profoundest gratitude for caring for the welfare of all retired and active military officers like no other Commander-in-Chief did, or before him did. So, pakirili lang, Senator Bong. Maraming salamat po. Kasama na po ako doon kasi nadagdagan yung pension ko. Thank you.
Thank you very much po, Senator Ping. Doon po sa sinabi ni Senator Bongo, kami po ni Senator Ping, mula pa po ng simula at kasama po kayo dyan, saksi po kayo dyan. Wala ko tayong ginawa kundi magtrabaho para sa ating mga opisyal ng AFP. At alam natin na pinaghirapan po nila yan. Siguro naman po, mamaya andyan ang ating Senate President, no? At papahinggan ang ating pakiusap. Makakaasa ko kayo na tayo magkatrabaho hanggang sa huli, no? Para sa kanila. Hopefully, may isa pa ho tayong natitira na session day para i-accommodate, no? We are inclined na, na pagbigyan yung 114 o 115 kernels, no? Na pending po sa CA. So, yun lang po. So, any other member wish to manifest? Senator Bong Revilla, and after Senator Bong Revilla, Senator Bato de la Rosa po. Senator Bong Revilla, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is to express my support to the confirmation of the ad interim appointments of our general and flag officers of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, led by Vice Admiral Romel Anthony Reyes, currently the Deputy Chief of Staff of the AFP, who has 38 years of military service, and is admired for his information technology expertise and his strategic planning abilities, both in the office and the field. Lieutenant General William Gonzalez, presently serving as Inspector General of the AFP and has 37 years of military service, and Vice Admiral Alberto Carlos, who is recognized as one of the most decorated naval officers in the Philippine Navy, and to all the appointees who are appearing before the body today. I salute you for your many years of dedicated service to the country. We recognize your efforts in keeping the country safe, as well as your important contribution in making the recent elections peaceful and orderly, with the lowest number of election-related incidents of violence. Many consider the 2022 elections as one of the most peaceful ever because of the because of the security measures in place. People went out to vote despite the risk amid the pandemic. Hence, we are also able to record the highest voter turnout. And we have the men, women of the AFP, as well as the PNP, and their cooperation with the COMELEC, their tireless service and dedication to duty, to thank for the success this very important democratic exercise. Kaya mabuhay po kayong lahat at salamat po. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Maraming salamat po, Senator Bong Revilla. Senator Bato de la Rosa, sir, you are recognized. Senator de la Rosa, audio po.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, can you hear me?
Opo, go ahead po.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I would like to congratulate and manifest my full support to the confirmation of the ad interim appointments of the 17 general flag officers of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, led by Vice Admiral Anthony Reyes, the Deputy Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. With all these documents on their personal background submitted to us, coupled by their long experience in military service, I can confidently say that they are diligently performing not only combat functions for the maintenance of peace and order, but are also involved in projects and programs directed towards community relations as a way of improving the quality of life in the grassroots areas. Ako ay isang buhay na saksi sa kanilang dinanas sa combat at sa komunidad kung saan sila na-assign, and I can personally empathize with all of them. At dahil dito, masasabi ko na tunay or genuine ang kanilang katapatan ng paglilingkod sa ating inang bayan. Again, congratulations to the appointed generals of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Maraming salamat po, Senator Bato de la Rosa. Any other member wish to manifest or have an inquiry? There being none, Majority Leader.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the committee recommends to the plenary for the commission to confirm the 17 ad interim appointments of general flag officers of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is hereby approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Chairman, there being no other matters to discuss, I move to adjourn this meeting.
Any objection? On the motion of the Majority Leader, there being no objection, the meeting is hereby adjourned. Congratulations po sa inyo lahat.
Session of the Commission on Appointments and the third regular session of the 18th Congress is hereby called to order. Let's all pause for a minute of silent prayer. Please remain standing for the singing of the Philippine National Anthem.
Bayang magiging danas ng silanganan, alam na puso, sa setipo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tulang ka ng mag-ibig, sa manlulubi, di ka pasisiil, sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong baka, may dilagang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang kislap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagdinilig, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may di magdidilim. Lupa ng araw, dalawalhating pagsinta, buhay ay langit sa piling mo. Ang ligaya dapat may mga ating, ang mamatay lang dahil sa'yo.
The Secretary will please call the roll.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. The honorable members of the Commission on Appointments, Advincula, Almario,
Present.
Alvarez Jr., Arbison,
Present.
Cagas, Chipeco Jr.,
Present.
De La Rosa,
Present.
Drilon, Ferrer de Fourth, Heron,
Present.
Go, Lacson, Noel, Pancho,
Present.
Pangilinan,
Present.
Pimentel III, Po, Ramirez Sato, Recto, Revilla Jr.,
Present.
Villanueva,
Present.
Villar, Zamora, Subiri. The chairperson is present.
Mr. President, can you please note my presence? This is Grace Poe.
Duly noted, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes, with 5 members physically present and 11 online, the total of 16, the chair declares the existence of a quorum. Majority Leader,
Mr. Chairman, I move to dispense with the reading of the journal of the plenary session held on February 2, 2022, and consider the same as approved.
any objection? Chair hears none, the journal is approved.
Mr. Chair,
Majority Leader.
may we now proceed to consider the recommendation of the Committee on National Defense on the ad interim appointments of 17 general flag officers of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. I so move, Mr. Chairman.
Any objection? Chair hears none, the consideration of the recommendation of the Committee on National Defense is in order. Majority Leader.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the chairperson of the Committee on National Defense, Representative Luis John Ferrer IV, be recognized.
Representative Luis John IV. John Ferrer IV is hereby recognized. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chairman, distinguished members of the Commission on Appointments, This representation as chairman of the Committee on National Defense presided over a public hearing this morning to deliberate on the 17 ad interim appointments of general and flag officers in the Armed Forces of the Philippines. Your committee, after deliberating on their qualifications and fitness during the public hearing, determined that they are all fit and qualified to be promoted to the ranks where they are appointed, and therefore ruled to recommend to the plenary for the commission to confirm the ad interim appointments of the following: William N. Gonzalez to the rank of Lieutenant General. So
Any,
moved.
any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Alberto B. Carlos to the rank of Vice Admiral.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Romel Anthony S. D. Reyes to the rank of Vice Admiral.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Camilo Z. Ligayo to the rank of Major General.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Wilbur C. Mamawag to the rank of Major General.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Charlton Sean M. Garland to the rank of Major General.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Arauz Robert F. Musico to the rank of Major General.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Ignatius N. Patrimonio to the rank of Major General.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Renato P. David to the rank of Rear Admiral.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Jonas R. Lumawag to the rank of Major General.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Romulo A. Manuel Jr. to the rank of Major General.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Adonis Ariel G. Orio to the rank of Brigadier General.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Glenn June C. Kalambuhay to the rank of Brigadier General.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Francisco G. Tagamolila Jr. to the rank of Commodore.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Consolito P. Yekla to the rank of Brigadier General.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Marvin L. Licudin to the rank of Brigadier General.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
And Fermin M. Karangan to the rank of Brigadier General.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
That is all, Mr. Chair. Salamat po.
Thank you, Representative Ferrer. Majority Leader.
Mr. Chairman, on other matters, the 18th Congress passed the Public Act 11641, creating the Department of Migrant Workers, which was signed into law by President Rodrigo Roa Duterte on December 31, 2021. In the light of the passage of the Act, Mr. Chairman, I move for the amendment of Chapter 2, Section 5 of the Rules of the Commission on Appointments to include all appointments to the Department of Migrant Workers under the Committee on Labor, Employment, and Social Welfare, to read as follows. Section 5, Standing Committees. There shall be 25 standing committees of the Commission on Appointments, to wit, number 9 thereof, Committee on Labor, Employment, Social Welfare, and Migrant Workers, composed of 17 members, to which shall be referred all nominations or appointments to the Department of Labor and Employment, the Department of Social Welfare, and the Department of Migrant Workers, submitted by the President of the Philippines for confirmation or approval. So move, Mr. Chair.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion to amend Chapter 2, Section 5 of the Rules of the Commission on Appointments to include all appointments to the Department of Migrant Workers under the Committee on Labor, Employment, and Social Welfare is hereby approved. So the leader.
Mr. Chairman, there being no other matters to discuss, I move to adjourn.
Any objection? Chair hears none. The session is adjourned.